I love symmetry in pictures. I love graphics and patterns. They tend to be emphasized when you use a long lens. Oftentimes, you compress the scene instead of doing the wide angle sort of foreshortening or throwing the scene away or getting your arms around the whole thing. The long lens takes a piece of it. So I wanted to take the long lens out on this very linear graphic object, the pier. And I brought a motorcyclist down there. That's what you'll see this morning, trying to get that shot set up and off and out of the gate prior to the rising morning light, sent us all home. Okay, location problems, trying to solve them. We're going to go manual trigger to the big light, and it's going to trigger these small washes off the floor. What I'm using is the vertigo of the dock. Maybe I'll do this Kelby online training seminar from San Francisco jail. That would be a really negative turn of events. All right, let's go. Not yet. Okay, now, did the little lights go? Yeah. Okay, good. All right, now, put them on quarter power each, please. Eddie, you're doing great right there, just the way you are. Okay, let's see what this is. Okay, somebody trigger that camera, please. All right, so it's just not spreading back in here. Okay, off camera. Set this up. Yeah, lay it down there. 200 millimeters, real weak. Okay, just lay it down here with the sensor up there pointing this way. Okay, so we're doing age old, with all this technology on the dock, we're going back to a method that I've used since the 50s. Not that I was shooting pictures in the 50s, I was just born in the 50s. I'm not quite that old. But Matthew Brady always told me, make sure you work it out. Ready on that, guys? Okay, power up to half power, please. All right, here we go, Eddie, right at camera. Power up to full. Getting some flare off of that light. Forget this. Okay, take a light right underneath here. Okay, move the silver blanket up in here. Okay, so it's off camera, and bounce two of them actually. Run them on low power and bounce them right here. Go, fold it. Okay, go to an 1/8 power each, please. Did we get them fired?
Yeah, they were just doing a stroboscopic thing.
Okay, here we go. Okay, that's better. Okay, let's get a couple of these. Eddie, that's looking good. Okay, let's see about this. Looking good, Eddie, looking good. All right, Drew, power those lights up a little bit, one stop each. And do me a favor, drag the whole rig backwards and towards me a little bit. Okay?
The whole thing?
Yep. Okay, right there. All right, so eliminate the bounces for now. Lower that main light. Okay, right there. Okay, we just need some stuff in here. All right, so go back to the bounces. Bang them up, please, Drew, to half power each. All right. Back that sheet off. Go to full power on those, please. Let's see. All right, too much light. Back them off to half, please. Are they firing? Okay. All right, hang in there, Eddie. You're doing fine, just the way you are. Okay. Let's see if we can work this light closer. Leave these back here. Okay, Alex. Let's see if we can extend that boom a little bit. Okay, so what I've done is I've moved the main light in a great deal, trying to get more play out of that particular light. because the other lights are just causing lots of problems. Just not unanticipated, but man, if we had gremlins this morning. Okay, now push that light about a foot or so that way, please. Okay, I'm going to back it off power-wise, about a half a stop. Okay. Okay, quality of light is better now. Trying to calm down and see what we can do here. Cool. Quality on light on Eddie is pretty nice, just from one simple flash. Now you would think that you could get a bounce light in there and it would be effective, but I'm having trouble doing that. Okay guys, let's back that light off one stop, please. So what I'm going to do is counter at camera by upping my shutter speed and opening my f-stop. So I just made a stop trade-off. Got a little less depth. But the method to the madness here is I'm going to make these little lights work a little less hard because they're having a hard time achieving f8 from a distance. Scriv, I want you to point your camera slowly, pan it towards Eddie. And that's what happens on location. Yeah, well, I knew us. Yeah, let's hang just for a second. Maybe we can try something else. Because you look, I mean, spent 15 minutes getting into the leathers. We may as well, you know. All right, okay. Let's go with a 2470 and let's move the Deepak to in close to Eddie. Okay. I don't know what I'm thinking at this point. We try to see if we work with the vertigo with the lights heading into the fog. Let's see what happens there. Might be kind of cool. I mean, Eddie just looks great on the bike. I mean, it's just so odd looking. So pretty cool. So let's see about this. Let me just see what happens here in terms of an angle. Okay. All right, let's do this. Let's move this guy in really close to Eddie. Okay, and let's pitch it. Okay, and let's angle the head up a little bit. So now I'm going to try something with the light is basically almost right on top of me and Eddie. Let's see what happens here. Okay, cool. All right, good. Okay, all right, so let me back off here a little bit, get a bit of the bike. Okay. Cool. So I'm trying to work that light in so it's nice and close to him. We get some good character out of it. Let's keep that light where it is. Let me shift back up to a longer lens, please. Thank you. Same direction and attitude, Eddie. Okay. Okay, cool. This is looking good. Stay right like that, Eddie. Let's move the light away just a little bit, please. Cool. Drew, what do you think of this? I'm wondering if we could maybe even do something longer lens.
Go tighter?
Yeah, or just more impact with the bike. Let's try a 200 to 400. See what happens. All right. All right, so what I'm getting now is a little more lens compression and a little more fade in the fog from the fact of the lens. Now the flash, am I getting flash?
Yeah.
Go down a little bit shutter speed wise for lots of reasons. Haven't had coffee yet this morning, so I don't know about hand holding a 2 to 4 at a 60th. The flash, of course, is what's really making the exposure. So try this horizontally. Now I got an out of focus blob of somebody walking. That's actually a really nice photograph. Cool. All right. Let's see if we can get rid of that person. Let me see. Take a look at the pack. I'm going to put about a half a stop into it, Alex. Okay. All right, so just for grins here, I'm going to take a look. I'm shooting a D3X. Got my focus cursor in there. It's very sharp. And the quality of light's really, really nice. I'm going to experiment now even with a faster shutter speed. Go up to 1/100th of a second, drop a little more background out of it. Okay. I'm kind of liking the density of the background now. It's amazing, this dock is still deserted out here. Eddie's a fantastic subject. He's got like this almost amazing calm in front of the camera. Probably comes from driving that bike about 200 miles an hour. This is easy. I'm racked out on the lens almost all the way. I really like that. It's almost monochrome except for his racing leathers. Cool. All right. Good. We got it. Thank you. Thanks. So what we did here this morning was use the Quadra, okay? And the quality of light from that deep octa really saved our butt, because it's really luminous, really powerful, okay? A couple of things went wrong. We were trying to put it into a TTL mode. We might have had an issue with the fact that the light, the battery pack was not seeing the flash. We're going to have to do that for the next set. We're going to take a look and make sure that we sort that out. And when we do that next set, we're going to go really hands-on, fingers, buttons, and dials, and try to make sure that that system is going to work. Because I would have liked a little TTL fill off the floor. Actually, the TTL, originally when I was designing the shot in my head last night, I was thinking the TTL bounce would kind of be almost like the main light, and then the overhead boom light will trigger off of those. So we're going to continue to experiment with that. Okay, on the docks of San Francisco, in the fog, in the early morning, with the glowing dock lamps receding in the distance, thought I had something really good going, okay? Again, time is of the essence. Also, being mildly invisible would have been a great thing, because we really didn't sort out any sort of permits for this. We just kind of went out there and did it. Rolled the motorcycle onto the dock and started shooting. Okay, so impromptu, ad hoc, nice location. What we wanted to do here was create a scenario that demonstrated for everybody the fact that the Quadra unit has a capacity to fire with TTL flashes. TTL flashes, as I've mentioned at least a couple of times over the course of this lesson and others, have a communications device called a pre-flash, where these little blips of light are sent out prior to the actual exposure-making flash. The remote and the commander unit talk to each other this way. So that set of pre-flashes will bedevil an ordinary or normal slave eye. It will trigger the bigger or third-party unit or studio strobe prematurely. So in other words, the pre-flash comes out, it triggers the big pack, and then the exposure is made. You don't want that to happen, obviously. So the Quadra has a learning mode where you can program the cell eye to learn the pre-flash pattern and then fire with the exposure-making flash when the shutter is open. This is a good thing. But what we found on the dock was we were really having a hard time making this learning technology work for us, especially in a pinch. What I have found about the cell eyes, and I've spoken very strongly with Ellen Crom about it, is that they have to improve. What I found in the field is that the cell eye and its position actually relative to this rubber lip protective surface around here is down in here, it's recessed. So if you have your impulse flash or your master flash coming at an angle this way, it is very likely to actually miss the cell eye. So what they are doing is vastly improving this cell eye, and the new generation of units that's about to come out will have better technology than this currently available. It's like anything, right? Any software program, 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, the units evolve and mature in a good direction. So that was the situation we confronted out there. Light is coming up, in sunrise it's reverse, right? In sunset you're afraid that light is falling, and sunrise you're afraid of it coming up. You want that moody pre-dawn glow, and I was losing it very rapidly. So again, the between the lines sort of, you can hear it in my voice, the tension, okay? I'm pushing really, really hard to get this shot done before I lose it completely. So we're out there, we lose the lights on the dock. They're on a sensor, they go off. All right, so I lose part of the component of the photograph I thought I was there to make. But you can't give up. You got to make a picture. You're there, all right? You can't just fold your tents. So what I did was I backed off. I went simple. That is a really powerful location lesson right there. When chips are down, go simple. Get a picture. So I put up the deep octa into the quadra, which is a beautiful, beautiful light source. We moved it around to the side of our motorcyclist, and then I backed off a considerable distance and shot with the skyport, sending a simple signal, no TTL here, just one light. The skyport is transmitting to the quadra. Did that very effectively from that distance. I handheld a 200 to 400, and the compression of the long lens took those light stanchions, okay, they were supporting the dock lights, and just made them a graphic that faded away in the fog. So the photograph has a little bit of vertigo to it. And it ended up, it was a simpler photograph than what I thought we were going to get. It ended up being a better photograph than we would have gotten. Okay, to demonstrate portability and the fact that the unit, can move with you very easily, we took a flyer on the streets of San Francisco to do a little bit of a fashion shoot, okay? And, with mixed results, we went running around, as you always do, finding things that work and don't work. Where we ended up that really worked pretty well, thank you San Francisco and your trolley cars, there was hot sunlight pouring down a hill, and it hit the metal rails, okay, that the trolley car travels on, and those heated up. So I was able to put our model in front of those, take a long lens and zero in on him and let the background kind of blow out to turn that into graphics. And this worked really well because Drew is out there with the quadra and a paint pole. We're literally in the middle of traffic. So this is where, for me, that light portability kind of thing really worked out and saved our neck. Okay, so the gist of this is what we're doing here is basically some street fashion with Dan. Going to work really light and easy. Let's take a look at the light source we're going to use here for a second. It's a 27-inch Rotolux square softbox, basically, but the wrinkle in it is that we got this egg crate. The egg crate really limits spill, and it concentrates the light even though the light remains soft. It doesn't spill, in other words, doesn't splash everywhere. So it should be kind of a cool light for Dan because he's got great features, and it should produce a soft light, but also something that'll give him a shadow and a little bit of an edge. Okay, you're gonna have to come in really close with that, Drew, or pretty close with it anyway. Cool? All right, let's go up a bit. All right, so I just went up a stop on the light. Nice thing about the unit, it's got a built-in Skyport receiver, so I can tell it what to do right from here. Great, here we go. Dan, just straighten your hoodie out just a little bit. Right now I am pumping a lot of power through the pack, going to 250 at f11. Okay, here we go. Cool. Maybe look a little down at the ground, Dan. That's it, good. Cool. And maybe now towards me, actually, a little bit. Good, good, right there. Perfect, stay with it, right in there.
I'm going to stay a little side better.
Cool. And now eyes at me, Dan. Good, right there, good. Cool. Cool, chin down just, that's it, right there. Great. Nice. Do you have, could you lose the blue hoodie and And that white, do you have a just a colored t-shirt you could throw on real quick?
Like a red, a blue, whatever you want.
Let's try a red one.
Okay.
Thanks. So, a couple of things that we're doing here with this this whole setup. Not only we got the controlled softbox, I'm able to send signals to it right here, plus or minus. So what I'm telling the pack to do is raise or lower power. I can test it from here. I can also fire different groups, either in an all mode, which means everything that I have out there programmed is going to go, or I can have set it into group mode and then fire lights individually and test them. So in other words, what you're doing is you're testing the components of a multiple light source or multiple light grid, something where you have maybe two lights in the background, a foreground light, and a kicker for a fill, and all of those are groups 1 through 4. I can program from here into each specific group and test the power of that group and send it a signal to raise or lower its own value. That's pretty cool. That's definitely handy, especially when you're spread out, in a situation like we will be in later today. Right now, we're trying to keep it simple, light, and fast, and use the kind of versatility of the unit to just kind of move around the streets and do some portraiture. And that's what we're going to finish up right here. Okay, that's good. Yeah, that's great. See where we are. Actually, come back a little bit more, sorry. Okay, cool. Good look. Way to go, last couple. Really nice. Perfect. This adventure on the highways and byways of California was really just a thinly veiled attempt on my part to get rid of Jason Scrivener, the legendary cameraman here at Kelby Training, and a good friend. I am being facetious, of course. But the two of us were rolling around in the back of that flatbed pickup truck for sure, and we were barreling along the highways, and we were trying to do hugely portable lighting at high speeds, with Drew holding a paint pole out over the motorcyclist as he comes back behind us, coming close to the tailgate. I've got a low positioned wide angle lens that I'm just firing on autofocus with a skyport that's triggering the quadra, and we're just taking our chances out there literally on exposure, speed, flash power, all that stuff, and we shot a lot of stuff. It was a ball, actually, and we got some good frames. Very hit or miss out there. It was a lot of fun to do. In this neighborhood, and taking a turn into the left, see if you can get it out here, okay? And it's not a TTL light, so we're going to try to have to keep it at a relatively constant distance.
Yeah.
Okay, which is
I'm dealing
not
with this distance as well.
just not going to be possible, but
Not at
I'm
all.
sure you'll do fine. I have every confidence. All right, so Eddie, what we got to do, we'll take a dry run. We'll go this way. We'll get comfortable in terms of working distance. I'll get some flash tests done, play with shutter speeds, see how comfortable we are, see how close. Feel free to push it as close as you want to, as close as you're comfortable. I'll take every inch you can give me, okay? And then Drew will be maneuvering this light pole, and I'll see how exposures run, see how shutter speeds run, and we'll just get comfortable. So we'll do a bit of a dry run. Okay?
Sounds good.
All right.
Are we ready?
I think we are getting very close to being ready, but we're photographers, so we're never ready, We're never really ready. So, obviously, we're flying a little bit by the seat of our pants, but we are using steel cables to clip into the side of the truck, so I'm actually cinched in, so I'm not going anywhere, but we are, being safe. this is something you have to kind of get the hang of, you know. And I'm not quite there yet, really, but we're getting some cool pictures. It's working out all right. Interesting experiment we're trying here with motion, flash. The flash, of course, firing at a fast shutter speed or fast sync speed or strobe duration is the actual term, is what you're looking for here, what I'm trying to say. The flash is firing very fast. Now what I have to do is match that flash exposure with something that you know, gets across the idea of the dynamic of how fast Eddie's moving on the bike. So to that end, I'm playing with shutter speeds. Now, you could do a TTL solution here. You could go aperture priority with a TTL, a synchronized flash. But here's the thing, that the hot shoe flash is actually heavier and doesn't have a lot of the power that the Quadra does. So we're experimenting with the Quadra because it's got the 400 watt-second kick, it's got a flash pan or a reflector, it throws a good distance, and it's incredibly light. It's a half a pound. So Drew's able to maneuver that on the end of a paint pole really well. You know, well, would you describe it as really well, Drew, or are you just kind of hanging on for dear life? Whatever, it's got good spread, it's got good power. The challenge back to me is with his varying distances to make sure that I get that flash accurately reading about the distance that, you know, the sweet spot where I'm getting him as a good, you know, powerful image in the frame, matching that exposure, having the flash hit him, and then playing manually with my shutter speeds to accommodate the light and shadow pattern of the road. And hopefully we'll get him sharp and the road and the rest of the world just blurring away. That's what we're going for right now.
You go down a 5-speed?
No, I think you just lay the paint pole down, we're all right.
Okay. You guys feel okay?
Yeah.
Close enough?
Yeah. When you came up alongside here with the setting sun, that way, it was really, really great. Gosh, it was, by golly, it was swell. We're fighting our own light. But where we get good is down in here. I got it. I opened up. Doing all right? So right now we're not feeling the impact of the flash because there's so much light. You gotta wait for these trees. Okay, that was interesting. Great job, Eddie. Thank you. Okay. So the hard part about doing a shot like this, obviously, is the constantly changing nature of the light. You're zipping along, trying to hold the camera, you're trying to manage the camera, you're not in a, you know, fortuitous position to do that. You're getting knocked around like just so much luggage in the back of a pickup truck. So you really got to concentrate on letting the camera do some of the work for you. So I have it auto-focusing, you know, in a dynamic way, so it's able to just grab the bike. So I'm not going to worry about the focus. I'm shooting wide, So I'm really letting him just come, into the lens, and I'm zooming the lens back and forth to make sure I've got that frame. Now for the light, I'm trying to throw the light hard, and in some instances I'm throwing it a fairly long distance. That's where the kind of eye of the needle thing comes in. When he comes up close, been lately on this last run, we were working at 5.6, so I'm kind of splitting the difference, not pushing the pack too hard, wanting to get recycle time pretty quickly out of the pack, and then find that area where the light hits him really well. Then you got to deal with your constantly changing background. I'm doing that via shutter speed, and I'm constantly maneuvering my shutter speed in manual mode. Now, there is, some devices, if you will, you could use in this instance, aperture priority, that type of thing. But my feeling with aperture priority is that I'm shooting so wide, I'm looking into, say, dark woods, that the light's going to grab that and open up or blow out the foreground part of the frame. So I'm preferring in this instance to try to control it manually and see what I can get and see if I can hit that. When I get to that dark section, I have a pretty good idea now of what shutter speed to dial in, hit a bright section, dial it back out, keep checking it, keep playing with it. And so far, lots and lots of misses, which you'll get in a situation like this, but we got some pretty nice hits. So, playing right now with the graphics of the shot, the size of my subject in terms of how close he can come to the camera, the speed that we're going, trying to convey the motion of it, the energy, the racing aspect of the bike, all of that sort of stuff. And that's where we're trying to end up at with a picture that speaks to that.